Welcome back to the Team to Be Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. Before we get started on this episode, just want to thank everybody for supporting the channel, pushing to 3,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe. It would mean a lot. So Jimmy Butler's still on the Miami Heat. It is Saturday, and there are talks about the Warriors and possibly the Suns being the two most active teams. But then there's reports that no team wants Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal doesn't want to play for a team that's not a contender. Steph is having doubts about adding Jimmy Butler, and Kerr don't want to bring in Jimmy, who could be problematic. So a lot of conflicting reports. But as of today, Jimmy's still on the Miami Heat. He is still suspended. And there's no resolution yet, but I can't imagine a world where Jimmy doesn't get traded by next Thursday at the deadline. We'll see. But as we get closer to the deadline, there's more insider information or reports or news coming out that is going to try to make both sides look worse. So if it's from the Jimmy Butler camp, they're going to obviously say things about the front office. And of course, if it comes from the team and the front office, they're going to talk about Jimmy Butler and the things that he's done specifically for the reasons why he's been suspended and detrimental what's the word? I can't even think of it right now. I don't know why. Conduct. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so Rachel Nicols was talking to, I think it was Chris Mannix, saying that Miami Heat players now have had it with Jimmy Butler amid the trade buzz and drama. So players on the Heat now are upset. I know Tyler has not really said anything specifically, or Bam. They keep saying that's my guy. And they're just focusing on winning and playing basketball right now at this time, even though it's a big distraction. But apparently Jimmy Butler's teammates on the Heat feel disrespected by the six-time All-Star during his standoff with the Heat. And that's according to Fox Sports 1, Rachel Nicols. So Nicols reported on the Open Floor podcast, it was with Chris Mannix from Hoops Hype. And they said that the Heat executives are not the only ones that are frustrated with Jimmy Butler in the organization. So we know Jimmy Butler's relationship with the Miami Heat has become severed. Right now, Ramona Shelburne put out a article on ESPN detailing the issues that have been bubbling up the surface, and Jimmy Butler, staying in different hotels and flying separately and all this crap. So we know the relationship right now is not good. Jimmy Butler has been suspended 3 times. He's requested a trade, has said he does not want to stay here. He told that to Mickey. He told that to Pat. He wants out, and they need to find a way to make this work, because I can't imagine a world where we keep trying to suspend him, or if he comes back onto the court, I can't imagine him actually trying. And, he's just standing in the corner and he's playing at like 50%. And it's not a good look for this Miami Heat organization. It's not going to help with development. So let me play a clip, though, from the podcast so you guys can hear it directly from Rachel.
What he wanted, because he wasn't going to get this extension. He had every single personal selfish incentive to do that. Instead, not only has it been such a problem for management, I talked to guys in that locker room, and to say they have had it is an understatement, because he has disrespected them so much. The way he's been in and out of, last minute, I'm not playing, the way he's been acting toward people in their locker room, and I mean staff or other people like that. And then the stunt with making them wait hours on the tarmac to even show up. Do you think that, again, I haven't spoken to Bam Adebayo about this, so I am speculating. I want to make this clear. But if you are Bam Adebayo, who is of this level of a player that he is, and some guy on your team who isn't even contributing right now makes you wait for hours on the tarmac, how do you feel about that? Wow. And by the way, he could cost you $50 million. Forget the extension. He could cost you $50 million next season to play 50, 55 games and maybe not be there for the playoffs, and maybe decide.
So what, let
he's taking the money, but he's going to be a malcontent there too.
But we started this with, I guess, the premise I was making that the TJ Maxx slashing of prices there has made him more appealing. It doesn't sound like you think that's like if it's not Golden State, if it's not Memphis, if it can't be Phoenix unless we get real creative and something that I don't think is going to happens, which is like Bradley Beal saying like I'll go play for Chicago, for example. Like what is he? Do you think February 7th he's still on the Miami Heat roster?
Here's what I think. There have historically been a handful of teams who we feel have suspect front offices who make rash and sort of ill-informed decisions, right? I would say that Phoenix getting themselves into this situation was
top of the list.
Not what one would do. We just talked about Sacramento, who has a history of rash and odd decisions. So there are a couple franchises around the NBA, and I'm not pointing to those two in particular in this case, but I'm just saying there's always a few, right, who would take sort of a risk you should take, who are doing something to stir up the pot and get something going without really looking at what they are going to get when that guy gets there.
Yeah.
So there's always someone out there.
I don't know who it
but
is.
if I'm
if
I'm 27 of the teams in the league who at this point, I mean, the NBA has progressed that there are less of those franchises. There are fewer of those franchises that are run by the seat of their pants. There are 25, 27 teams in the league that aren't like that. I don't see why you would trade for him. I just don't. Not at this age, not with the amount of money he's owed, and not with his potential to blow up your team.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand where she's coming from. And, Jimmy's antics are tarnishing his trade value, and that's possibly what he wants, but it's also not a great tactic because if the Suns aren't able to trade Bradley Beal anywhere, then he's going to be forced to go somewhere, and the Miami Heat are going to get a horrible return because I can't imagine him, again, coming back and being a distraction for the rest of the season, dealing with him potentially opting into that $52 million, then trying to figure out a sign and trade. It's going to be tough. But I think they just have to bite the bullet to get him off this roster and take a mediocre trade, which will suck for this Miami Heat. But that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.